It's real. It's real. Folks, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 1 of Clash of the Podcast. This is going to be a show where you have two podcast hosts come together every week to talk the latest and greatest in the world of professional wrestling. I am joined by my good friend, my brother, Sean Hubbard from Hubbard Wrestling. Absolutely great to do the show with you, bro. We've been talking about this way before, like even before you guys heard the episodes. And I think the episode that really clicked for me, Sean, when I knew this was going to work with us was the Vince McMahon episode. That episode took off. I couldn't believe how many people really liked that. And it was crazy, man. So it was absolutely like, I knew this was going to work. So I'm happy to have you aboard. I'm glad we're working together on this. And introduce yourself to the people.
You already know, man. Listen, Conrad, I appreciate you, man. Your platform has done some amazing things. Everything Pro Wrestling has become a major entity in the world of sports, entertainment, wrestling, what have you. And yes, we have forged this brotherhood from the wrestling community. We started off as colleagues, and it has transformed to friendship and brotherhood. So I salute you, my friend. I'm excited, man. You know what I'm saying? This is a big deal for me. I don't just share my energy or my platform or my expertise or whatever you want to call it with just anybody, but I just felt like this would work. You know what I'm saying? You're on top of your game, and I just hope the people and know the people are going to love this, man. We're going to talk pro wrestling. Hubbard Wrestling Weekly's in the building. EPW's in the building. And when you combine those forces, that's a big deal, and I'm fired up about it.
It's like when the mega powers had to do But I'm excited about this. Episode 1, I think, is going to be something that I thought was going to be great, but now I think it's going to turn into something epic. There's a lot of conversation to be had. I think there's going to be some headbutting. There's going to be some good combo. Right. But make sure you guys spread the word and tell everyone about this. We're going to start off with our intro here, and then we're going to get into what we got to talk about. Let's get it. And oh man, I love hearing that classic music. Shout out to Eric when he listens to this. Eric, you were the inspiration for that one. Absolutely love it. What's going on? We got some people in the chat. I see Rob. Rob was really excited about this. What's going on, Rob? Appreciate you. Sick saying what's up. He's watching live on Twitch right now. Thank you, Sick. What's the dope background from? I found this actually on Google. I was looking for images, and Triple H, King of Kings, I thought it would be perfect to have some type of medieval background since he was the focal point of this. And some of the thunder from Triple H has probably been swept away a little bit, but good to have it all on here at once. Tokyo, talking about where's my ice cream bars, Triple H. B Tazzy in the house saying he is multitasking. What's good, Tazzy? DJ B Tazzy, man. I appreciate you, fam. Clash of the Podcast, episode 1. Lots to talk about. Sean, I think we should get right into this, brother.
Let's flow with it, man. There's so much to talk
about. Now, last night, me and Derek did a review on everything pro wrestling. If you guys want to get Sean's thoughts on everything in the world of wrestling, you guys can go to hubbardwrestlingweekly.com. He has podcasts up there, articles. He talks all combat sports, boxing, MMA. Definitely want to check that out. Let's get into some All Out. Me and Derek gave our thoughts on it. What did you think of the overall show last night, Sean, from what you were able to catch of it?
It was cool. I thought that AEW put out a good product last night. I think that they put out a good effort. I would have liked to have seen. You have to understand the audience. You have to understand what the audience wants. I'm speaking specifically of the tag team title match. Now I know you can't necessarily change a result mid-match. I mean, unless there's an injury, something happens, something catastrophic takes place. You know, you go with the flow, you go with the result that you guys put in place. This is entertainment, as we know. However, I would have thought beforehand that AEW management, people in charge, would have known that the Acclaim would have been clamored to have won that match. They are AEW originals. They have the time and lineage in the company. Swerve to my glory, are newcomers. So there's obviously a great deal of affection for the Acclaim. So I thought the Acclaim should have came out on top. I'm pretty sure you're going to be surprised when I say this. I loved what happened with Christian and Jungle Boy. I thought that was well done. I thought that was a perfect teaser for the future. And of course, the world title match with MJF's arrival was absolutely outstanding. Some effort was there. It showed it was a strong effort. Could have been better, of course. Anything could always be better. WrestleMania could be better, but at the end of the day, I think All Out was a good show.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off of you and kind of give quick versions of my thoughts. And when it comes down to it, bro, I really thought that the right call was made in the tag title match because we don't know what the Acclaimed has in different cities and everything else. And I think Keith Lee and Swerve have never even had a real opportunity to prove their worth as champions yet. Like, they've been on Rampage and stuff like that. They fought some teams, but they've never been given the chance in a big program to show, like, hey, this is what we can do. But I think the booking of this being put all together last minute, I think it really hurt them kind of, to where people had to choose sides between two baby faces. That one hurt. I want to definitely deep delve into more of your thoughts on the Christian Jungle Boy match, though. Tell me why you liked it, because I liked it too.
Okay, cool. So what I like is that was almost as – see, everything – when I look at AEW, think about AEW, everything has been microwaved. The analogy microwave with the obvious contrast to that would be oven. WWE has been oven because they have longevity, things like that. Obviously they're Chad, what up? Everything has been, highly criticized in WWE, which is why everybody's clamoring for the Triple H takeover, and we're going to talk a lot about that today. But I digress. The point I'm trying to make is AEW's microwave, meaning they like to move fast because they're playing catch up, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But this storyline, when it comes to Christian, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus, they have taken their time. They have set this thing up. They have let it simmer and simmer and simmer ever since Christian's arrival into the company, right? And now, just when you think that you had everything figured out, they flip it on you again. You had Luchasaurus turn to the dark side, getting with Christian. Then you think you have it figured out, but no, you don't have it figured out, because when Jungle Boy returns, Luchasaurus remembers his allegiance to Jungle Boy, gets back with Jungle Boy, and we think all is right with the world. All the way up, and this is at least 3 or 4 weeks, a month and a half. And then at the pay-per-view, Jungle Boy turns again. Now, we all have the Big Show complex. Turn. We can't stand it, right? But this back and forth made a lot of sense, and I loved it.
And I fully agree with that. I told people this from the beginning. Luchasaurus never showed any signs that he was helping Jungle Boy. If anything, I was like, how did Christian know that he was about to be attacked? Like, Christian got away one time, and he couldn't see Jungle Boy, so how did he know he was going to be there?
Nice.
They set it up, and I love how Jungle Boy, this is what hurt it. This is what made it hurt the worst, especially for like a kid. My son loved Jurassic Express, and he was staring up at the TV screen like, why is he beating up his friend? Like, he knew, like, they're usually together. He was like, hey, why is that happening? So he knew something was off. And while we're watching this matchup, Jungle Boy goes and looks back down the babyface tunnel like, where's Luchasaurus? I thought he was coming behind me. Luchasaurus comes out the heel tunnel. And it was just, it signified, boom, choke him on the great.
Psychological.
It just worked. It was a thing of beauty. And Christian put up right after 5-star match on Twitter. I loved it, bro. I loved it. It was so good.
It was so well done. I hate squash matches, especially when it's a highly built-up match, which is why I couldn't stand what happened between Punk and Moxley in the first match on Dynamite, but I digress. But wow, You had a squash, and I loved it. You know why? Because it was done correctly. It made sense. Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch, SummerSlam, 2020. Anyway, whatever. I don't want to get. But a squash that makes sense is good for business, but it has to make sense. And last night made sense.
It did. E, what's going on, bro? I just gave you a shout out, man. The intro was done just for you, so I hope you enjoy it. If you haven't gotten a chance to go back and check it out, Matt Lopez has joined us saying good evening. Rob putting the fist up saying you love to see it. I appreciate that, Rob. Mr. Pro Wrestling 1 says good points, Sean. Tokyo says, shocker, Jericho beating Danielson. I didn't see that happening. I was okay with that going either way. I was more shocked by Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks finish.
Right, me too.
He just put him down, spine on the pine, and that was it, man. Bad Dinosaur, Rob put, broke my boy's heart. Yeah. That one was hard to watch when he was looking up. I was just like, oh man, what's he thinking?
I want to get a little bit with Y2J and Brian, because I felt like that was done incorrectly. Great match. I think they went out of their way to make it a classic wrestling match, which they were able to accomplish. I actually like the fact that Jericho cheated at the end as well, because it kind of brought him back to the whole storyline with, the discontented young man who's his, protege, things like that, Garcia. But anyway, Brian Danielson should have won that match. I just think that Jericho puts himself over a little too much. I love Chris Jericho. I feel I put Chris Jericho in my Mount Rushmore, which a lot of people don't. I do. But this is the stage of his career where he should be putting people over. And I felt like, go ahead.
No, I'm going to interject real quick. I think both of them are at the stage where a win or a loss didn't hurt either of them. That's why this was so hard to pick, because I'm like, either guy's going to be fine from this afterwards, and this isn't going to be the end of this.
I disagree only because I feel like Danielson is 0 for AEW. He's never been a champion. So when you're 0 for AEW, when does he turn the corner? We all know that D. Bryan is like a massive veteran in this industry. He's been in the industry forever. He's not a rookie by any stretch. He's not a young talent trying to get over. That's obvious. But he is an AEW newbie, and he's been unsuccessful since he's gotten here. He's 0 for 2 in title matches, and now he loses a mega pay-per-view match with Jericho, who doesn't, to argue your point, who needs it more? You're saying neither one need it, but I would say if you had to choose which one needed it more, it would definitely be Brian Danielson.
I picked Danielson to win. I was like, if it were up to me, Danielson gets the win. Boom, boom, boom. This is how I would do it. But they didn't go that route. But like I said, I don't think it's like one of those crushing things to where it's got to be. I kind of hammered in on the fans last night when it came to this show too. My main point was a lot of fans were saying things that I'm like, you're setting yourself up for disappointment when you say, if person A doesn't win, I'm going to be very upset, but person B is the logical pick. Like you can see they're clearly going with person B. What's the issue here? And I just was like, the fans were doing that to themselves yesterday, and I just didn't understand why some people were doing that. I thought it was a crushing thing. And the reaction of the fans, man, I couldn't believe, like you said, with the Acclaimed, man, they were super over. I just never expected the people to turn on Keith Lee and Swerve like that. But you know what? Good for these guys. They took that moment.
You don't want me to get started on that, because I'm telling you something. I have always had second thoughts about Keith Lee. I've never been a fan, bro. Never. I've always like, what's the infatuation with this guy? Look, I've said this quote before. I'm a big guy. He's a big guy. Shout out to the Big Brothers, man. We're doing it. We're doing it big, literally and figuratively, right? But yeah, and he's a massively talented athlete. But dude is not charismatic at all. He has this whole like pointing at yourself. First of all, that's a RVD knockoff. That's number one. Okay, so that's corny to begin with. Number two, the bask in your glory thing. That's corny, bro. That is corny. I am not a fan at all. I admire him for being a stellar. When you're 3 bills and you can move around like that, I salute you. But as far as his character is concerned, come on, man. If Strickland wasn't on the team, there'd be no character. Thank God for Strickland being on the team. Otherwise, the team would be. They should call themselves charisma free. That's what they should call themselves.
Jeez Louise, going in. We got some hot takes coming in early. Much appreciated, though. I like the honesty. I guess I didn't ask you about this. What did you think of the ladder match here with the Joker reveal and how they set that up, kind of, with Stokely revealing the people who he's been giving the business cards to were all part of a faction, and then the Joker comes out in some type of mask. It gave me some Black Phone type vibes, the mask.
I loved it, but they messed it up a little bit. Number one, the reveal should always take place in the ring. I always believe that. You never, obviously it was only a cliffhanger for a couple of hours, but you always do the reveal in the ring. Okay, that's number one. Number two, it only works as it relates to the faction if they remain a faction. I hope this wasn't just all done just for MJF to come back and then they disassociate themselves, because the Ass Boys, they need something like this, because without their father, I think they're gonna perish, honestly. So they need something like this, and I hope it continues.
I think that's why they made that. So to me, it was weird that Billy Gunn sided with his sons, and then his sons beat him up, and then he went back with the Acclaim. Like the Acclaim just accepted him, and I was just like, what? It was kind of weird a little bit how they did that, but
that's the only way it would be acceptable, bro. You got to understand that's the only way it would be acceptable. The only way that any of us, me, you, we have kids, all of our families, anybody who's a parent out there, nobody's going to believe that the father's going to go against his kids. So what do you have to do? You have to have the kids go against the father.
More on that later, too. There's another story to talk about with kids going against their pops.
Mm-hmm.
BJ,
boy.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, but like you said, we found out in the end, it was Maxwell Jacob Friedman. You can't trust him. He always shows up when you least expect it. And, that was the big reveal at the end. Punk is your new AEW champion. It was a fine match, I thought. But MJF says he's coming back, and he did the motion for the championship. He does have a title shot. I don't know how long they could sit on that. I feel like there's not a lot of time to sit on it.
Full Gear.
New Jersey, Prudential Center.
Yeah, Full Gear. I don't see it lasting any longer than that. One thing, I'm all about free title shots. You know me. We had this conversation. You had to almost kind of reel me in, Sean. You can't give away title shots for free. This is not Nitro. But in this case, you cannot give away this on Dynamite. This is pay-per-view all the way.
Yeah, and listen, I tried to explain this to people now. It takes a second sometimes to see, well, what's the end game here with some of this? Tony Khan needed ratings. He's in the middle of contract negotiations for his television deal. That's why they're saying when you're on TV, no one told us that we can't cuss, but watch your mouth. Right. Be mindful of what you're saying while you're on television. People are watching this, so let's present our product in a good way. He's not saying you can't curse, but give me a heads up if you want to do something like that, and I'll tell you yay, nay. I know someone else is already doing it. Let's chill tonight, maybe next week.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. So the Moxley squashing Punk in 2 to 3 minutes, it was a ploy. It's wrestling. It's a ploy to get some ratings in. That's what they did. B-Boy Skyline, thank you for joining us. He says that he thinks that the Grand Slam is where the match will go down in New York City. Maybe, perhaps. I do like that Arthur Ashe Stadium. I don't know if it's going to sell. Say it again?
Absolutely.
I don't know if it's going to sell out. Like, maybe it will if you put that match on the marquee. It's going to be interesting, though. I can't wait to see what they do with that the Grand Slam show. I love that it's in like that tennis arena too. It's just different vibe.
There's a key to it, my brother. There's a key to it. See, this is what we have a habit of doing. We have a habit in AEW of having free title matches, which, like I said, I'm an advocate of. But you can't continue to have free title matches that don't mean anything. Title matches are not should not. I'm not going to say are not, because it clearly it's been happening many times and it's happened years and years and years. but it should not be a setup for further matches. I'm all about series of matches. I'm all about long-term storytelling, but you can't have CM Punk. Believe me, I'm going somewhere with this. You can't have CM Punk defend or go title for title with Jon Moxley and lose in 2 minutes. I understand the story was set up for him to come back at All Out. That's not proper to me. So to bring it back full circle, if you're gonna have MJF versus CM Punk on free television, it should be a half-hour match with a definitive winner. No more of this. Okay, you know what? Well, we're gonna have them go to a time limit draw. No, nobody wants that. Or we're gonna have, somebody's gonna get squashed or somebody's gonna get pinned, like in a foul, crazy way. No, we want pay-per-view quality on free TV. And if you're gonna not give us pay-per-view quality on free TV, then just give it to us on pay-per-view.
Good points. It's weird now because I feel like television's the main driving factor of revenue. I'm putting on my business cap with this too. Like there's a lot of money in it, so you want the eyeballs on your TV screen. But I feel like maybe you get more a chunk of the pay-per-view money too. I don't know. You got to satisfy two needs at the same time. But excellent points made by you, Sean. And speaking of, Mr. Pro Wrestling agrees. Connor says, good evening. What's going on, Connor? TK can't keep using Chicago for every All Out. You got to switch it up a bit, Ace says. Ace, appreciate you modding in the chat, and I do agree with that as well. I think we're getting to the point where it's time to move on to different cities. Will that happen? I don't know. I know some people from Chicago were like, yeah, it can stay here for as long as they want for all I care, and I understand the reason why.
I'm sure Chicago fans are cool with it.
Right? Bro, I guess we're at the portion I did not want to get into for this, but we have to because that's what we're here to do.
You see my face changing?
Speaking of faces changing.
Oh, boy.
CM Punk at the media scrum last night had my stream going up crazy. People were giving me the blow-by-blow. Shout out to Matt Lopez, who was in the chat, telling me what was going on with this. Sean, we've disagreed about this before. We were kind of going back and forth on one of the Dynamite reviews talking about this, and I don't think we're going to agree on this either, but let's see if we can come to some common ground here on this. Thoughts on the media scrum?
I'm going to quote one of my favorite people, the former First Lady, Michelle Obama. Sometimes you have to rise above. CM Punk has proven me wrong. Everything, or just about everything that I was talking about on your show, that same commentary you were just talking about, most of it was wrong. I have to humble myself. One thing I'll always do is tell the truth and say, you know what, when I was wrong, I was wrong. I was wrong. CM Punk is not to blame in this situation. But the problem is CM Punk is not making it better. You have to learn how to rise above. CM Punk is the veteran. CM Punk is the seasoned pro. CM Punk is the major free agent acquisition. CM Punk is the 7-year gone back with a vengeance guy. You don't fight fire in this case with fire. Two lefts don't make a right. Two wrongs don't make a right, whatever you want to call it. CM Punk had every right to be upset. Hangman Page and the Young Bucks have not been doing the right thing from a business standpoint. They're making it personal. They're getting involved in things they shouldn't get involved with. Colt Cabana has nothing to do with business. Keep Colt Cabana's name out of your mouth. Keep my name out of your mouth. But when CM Punk flips it and then goes into business for himself, just like you said Hangman did, that's my issue. I blame the whole thing on CM Punk initially, but I disagree with that now. I think CM Punk had every right to be upset, but CM Punk is not making it better. So what he has to do is he has to make it better, because he said it himself during the media scrum last night. He said he should have never went into business for himself, but then I went into business for myself. So You're not doing anything to better the situation. And that's what Khan has to deal with now, because now he has a really big problem on his hands.
I agree. Let me jump in on this because this is the one thing I've been waiting to talk about. So when it comes into the CM Punk situation, last night there were a lot of quotes. I'm not going to put them in here, but you guys know what was said. He mentioned that he thought so. To me, here's what I took from it. CM Punk and Colt Cabana were inseparable at one point. Like, these dudes were best friends from Ring of Honor. Where Punk went, this dude went. If Punk's eating, this dude's eating. And he was always like that with him. And I thought that was great until that lawsuit happened. And it pains me that WWE came in between them kind of with what was happening and the whole situation. I just hated how it all happened, basically. Mm-hmm. And he kind of revealed some stuff in there that we've always wondered. I've always heard those things that he brought up, like, no, Punk has proof that this shouldn't have happened this way, and he doesn't owe him any money. And then when Punk countersued, finally, it was, yo, can we just drop this, bro? It's not a big deal. Mm-hmm. Whatever. All those situations came out. That was CM Punk's friend. CM Punk was hurt by that. And I get, so do you think he told Tony Khan, I don't want to work with this dude? I don't think that was ever mentioned. I think it was known, though. Don't put me near him. I don't want to be around him. If he starts trying to talk to me, I'm walking away. Like, I don't want to deal. And I get it. This is something personal between those two. Like, it's about money. It's about life. And he's just like, listen, I don't want to cause any trouble. I don't want to deal with him. And then it gets brought up by Hangman Page on live television. And he knew what he was referring to. We all kind of did when he said, you talk about workers' rights. That was the line that stung. And Punk knew he was getting punched in the face at the end of that segment to look like a fool, to look down. And Hangman Page is saying he was protecting AEW from him.
Hangman was right. The problem is, being right doesn't necessarily mean you have to speak on it in an improper way. Many of us have things that we want to say, but there's a time, place, and arena to say them. CM Punk does have some explaining to do, but the problem is he never should have had explaining to do because it never should have gotten public. Now that it's public, Conrad, now he has explaining to do because you can't just you can't let sleeping dogs lie, which is exactly what he did last night. And I love what he said last night. He earned a lot of my respect back last night when he said, listen, I wasn't going to talk about it. It's none of your effing business. But you know what? Now that it's out there, here it is. So I respect him for that. You can't, after the cat's out of the bag, you can't, sit up here and act like it doesn't exist. But it's like, what choice did he have at this point? Like, it should have never been made public. No, none of this.
I'm with you on that. It got really weird and dicey, and I don't know how far the beef extends, but this is the other thing. So to me, in my opinion, Hangman shouldn't have brought it up. Punk looked weak. I'm going to tell you, bro, I'm probably on that list of people too. I can be real petty, and it's often used as motivation to, like, whatever, be the best at a basketball game, football game, video game, whatever I'm doing. I'm like, you know what? They wanted to be petty. I got you now. Now I'm going to be petty because I can beat you and got a leg up on you. I think everybody has a little bit of that in them. And Punk said, you know what? I don't care if it was the week after I won the title or my first time back from after my injury. I'm going to get on this microphone and I owe you one, buddy. And he said that he should have apologized. Hangman never apologized during that whole time in between all of that. And Punk took issue with the Hangman saying he doesn't take advice from people, from like older wrestlers and things like that. That was also a weird thing. I mean, he said he'll listen, but he'll decide if he wants to use the advice. And Punk took that as disrespect. It's very weird. And he called out the EVPs. And this is where it gets weird for me, bro. Listening to Alvarez kind of made it sound like it was Punk's fault on one of his shows, I'm assuming. And listen, bro, when it comes to getting your pro wrestling news, I will tell you guys who is garbage and who is not. Some of the news sources from the past couple weeks have been garbage, just straight garbage people like saying it. And it's with all due respect. Maybe they do have a person, but they don't have the reputation. When Alvarez mentioned the thing he was disappointed in Punk, bro, who do you think fed him that news, Sean? Who has a move called the Meltzer driver?
Right.
Come on, bro. Who do you think's feeding them that stuff? And what are their roles within this company? You're the EVP. I know people keep saying Punk's the champ, Punk's the champ. That's fine. But when you're the EVP, you're supposed to really be up here, even if the champ's right here. You're supposed to be above all of it, and they weren't. Even Kenny Omega last night said something into the camera. I'm like, what is going on right now? Everybody's got like little snide comments that they have to say and sneak in.
Look, real life is real life, right? Sometimes friendships trump professionalism. We know that. You know, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make it right. It just is what it is. And when egos get involved, we're talking about egomaniacal people who really care about their product, care about their brands, don't want to be made to look weak, as you just said, and they want to make sure that they come out looking good no matter what, win, lose, or draw. So I don't blame. First of all, CM Punk sitting up here talking about lack of professionalism is a really funny thing to me. I stand by that. You know, I don't want to work for a place that's unprofessional. You're sitting up here sabotaging opponents sitting right next to the owner. You know, I don't want to fight MJF. I don't want to. That was real, bro. Like, that was real. He thinks that he's working with nothing but bratty kids. And I don't care how real that is. You can't say that and be considered a team player.
This is true. I think, see, with Punk and MJF, I took those comments as the little brother kind of thing. Like, he's like, listen, I know you think right now I'm king, whatever you want to say. I'm king of the world, and I can go wherever I want. WWE's calling me because he's friends with Bruce Pritchard and all them. They want me. Cody's over there. And I know y'all going to say Cody's not doing that. Cody knows when contracts, and Cody's double agent in it. He's getting $5 million for a reason, bro. Sure. So I'm guessing that's his payment price, but he's getting paid, bro. So MJF's doing his thing, and I think Punk's trying to warn him, like, listen, bro, you think it's good to go over there. It's not always good. He said the grass is greener where you water it, and I like that phrase. That's something that, the grass is greener where you water it instead of thinking it's on the other side. Very, very interesting stuff that we got from. I'm going to get to some of the people's comments real quick in here. Actually, let me read this SRS thing, and then this will explain some of the comments we're getting. So here's what I saw from Squared Circle, giving them full credit on Reddit. SRS speculation on the backstage fight. Sean, SRS reported on the podcast that he heard, not that he believed it was true or untrue at this point, that the fight included Kenny, at least one of the Jacksons, and Ace Steel and CM Punk. Nick Jackson got rocked/knocked out. Ace Steel bit Kenny, and there was a chair thrown in this fight. Now, I saw what BJ put in here, and I kind of had the exact same agreement with BJ on this. Eddie Kingston just got suspended for the same stuff with Sammy Guevara. Mm-hmm. Bro, if that's going to be the situation, then I'm going to lean right back into this, bro, and say the exact same thing. CM Punk needs to be suspended. And you know, I'm a Punk fan, bro, but if he threw a punch first, he's gone. You gotta pay the price, bro. We'll write you off TV, but you're suspended for 2 weeks, no pay. You're going home just like someone else did. I don't know if Eddie was gone for 4 weeks, a month. So maybe you got to go take some anger management. They all need to get into a room and say kumbaya. I'd make the EVPs do it too if they were involved in a fight in any way with this. You're all going to it together at the same time. Make sure that they can work this out. What do you think of all this? Because Rob's putting it in here. Allegedly it happened. It shouldn't have came to all this. Matt Lopez says it should have stayed private in the back. BJ said he wants equal punishment. If Eddie got suspended, and then the people at fault for the physical altercation need to be suspended as well. Your thoughts?
It's a frat house. It's a frat. AEW, as much as I love it and as much as we all love alternatives to WWE, AEW is becoming a frat house. It's becoming a cliquey frat house. And that's not good for business. I can't believe I'm using this term, good for business. I hate that term, but it applies in this case. You can't sit up here, this whole like, this is my friend and we're cool with each other, so I'm not gonna let nobody talk about my friend, and we're gonna go back and forth, and like you brought up before, now I'm gonna start pulling the cameraman close and saying, beat that, into the, telling all the boys in the back, beat that after the Kenny Omega trios match. It's getting ridiculous. And of course equal punishment should be in place. There should be ground rules for infractions, just like in any other job. If you're late 3 times, you're suspended. If you're late another 3 times, you're terminated. If you get into a fight in the back, whatever Eddie Kingston got, that should be across the board, unless you don't want to be respected by your talent. And that's also a problem, because I don't think they respect him the way they should.
I think Tony Khan hasn't put the foot down enough, but I've heard from other people that Tony Khan does. He is the one. He lets you know he's running the show. Has he done a good enough job with discipline is the question, and it's with top people now. So he has
the answer is no. The answer is no, Conrad. The answer is no. I'm tired. Listen, you know me. I have a lot of love in my heart. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I'm built. I don't play games, but I have a lot of love in my heart. If I see this dude hug another one of his talents, I'm going to throw up. Like, all the hugging and I love you and thank you for being here and I wouldn't be here without you and, oh, CM Punk and, oh, this and all that. Oh, you know, the biggest signing in AEW. You've been in business for 4 years. Relax. Just keep trucking along and doing your thing. Everybody appreciates what you've done for the business. But don't be what MJF called you on live television. Don't be June 1st. Don't be a mark, because you're acting like one.
Yeah, I mean, and that's very different too. Very dramatic time in AEW. What's going on, Tom? Thank you for popping in, man. I appreciate you, Tom Collahue. He's got a lot of wrestling news and a great YouTube channel as well. Chris says, "Hey, Conrad, what's going on, Chris? Thank you for joining us." Yeah, it makes it interesting. I mean, we got some interesting comments too. I did like how Swerve and Keith Lee responded to some of the criticism they got. Tony Storm, people took her comments with Thunder Rosa quite weird, and I thought the only person who was talking some sense in all of this was Chris Jericho. He was like, "Yo, I'm trying to tell y'all, you need to be paying attention. This is big time." Jericho sounds like he's very invested in a lot of this, and I like that. Yeah, Tony's got to lay down the law at this point, bro. Tony has to establish his position as an owner, and he needs to put these guys all in their place and just say, like, look, this has to end. We have to come to some type of working agreement. Because he needs matches like Punk versus Omega. You can't have that stuff off the table at this point in your company. No. You need as many big matches as possible. And if that's not going to happen, guess what? It's time to break out the release book. Who's ready to go? Come here. Okay.
Here's my thing. I've been in positions and continue to be in positions at work where I have authority. Like, I have, the ability to hire, fire, terminate, suspend, whatever. You cannot bring friendship into the office. And I'm speaking from experience. I've been friends with people that it was kind of a situation where, like, I started off, I'm going to keep this real brief. I started off as like a coffee fetcher. And then, and I was friends with everybody. And then 6 months later, I was everybody's boss. I got promoted past everybody. And all of a sudden, the people I was getting coffee for, I was their boss. It's a hard transition to make because you're cool with these people, right? But you have to eventually put your foot down because they're never going to respect you. Now, bringing it back to AEW, Tony Khan, everybody likes him, but everybody pushes him around because he's a mark. So at the end of the day, how can you expect to be respected if you continue to mark out every single chance you get? And the thing for me is, when you talk about AEW is a wrestling company. The problem, and this is where I kind of sympathize with Tony Khan, I want to be fair, you can't fire everybody, otherwise you don't have a product.
And it's a madhouse. You can't control 30 people backstage. It's impossible. Not everybody's going to get along. I don't like the term mark, though. I never have, never will, because I think everybody in wrestling is a mark to a degree, and I don't like sometimes when people are like, "Oh, he doesn't get it. He doesn't know."
No. I gotta fight you on that one. He's a mark. I'm a mark. You're a mark. We have mark. All of us have mark tendencies, but you can't be a mark and be a boss. Vince McMahon wasn't a mark. And I have a lot of problems with Vince McMahon as far as his decision making. Vince McMahon, you could never say Vince McMahon was a mark.
We'll transition into that.
All right.
Well, he gave some advice that I thought was real funny, and I guess we can. You know what? This is a good transition point to talk about Clash at the Castle. We don't talk enough WWE on here for some people, so here you go. You're getting some WWE talk from us. Overall thoughts on the show? UK finally gets their first show since SummerSlam 92. That one's kind of a one that hits home in my heart. I love that show a lot, and it was nice to see them finally get a show.
From the standpoint of UK deserving a main event live big arena show, I thought the show was a 10 out of 10. It served its purpose. It was amazing. Shout out to the UK. They deserved it. As far as the match results,
Ooh, you weren't feeling some of them?
yeah, everything is not going to be perfect. We know that, but I felt like WWE made some mistakes.
Okay, interesting. Here's the setup for Clash at the Castle. I thought it was really cool.
Yes.
I wish they would have did more with the set. Like, I think you could have done some more things, but they were trying here. They were trying to get some different things going. We talked about the father never turned on his son. Dominic Mysterio turns on Edge and his father. He took his dad's head off, bro. I loved it, bro. His dad before was like, yo, listen, whatever you do, your career will be over if you do not take my head off. So whatever you were mad at me for in high school or something, just think of that and just let it out, bro, because you got to nail this in. I thought Dominic looked real good as a heel. The question is, can he cut that heel promo? What did you think of this, Sean? Right. Dominic gets a lot of unfair hate online. I always feel like I'm like, why do y'all hate this kid?
All right, so this is where I take off my analytic and podcast host hat, and I get into character mode. I'm gonna channel my inner Bobby the Brain Heenan, Jesse the Body Ventura swag right now. Rey Mysterio is one of the most ungrateful SOBs I've ever seen in my life. Your son saves you in the match, okay? Saves you. If it wasn't for Dominic, they would have lost. First of all, let's go back in time. You chose Edge over your son. Okay, all of a sudden now Edge is a great human being. 2 seconds ago, he was telling the world that Judgment Day were the only 3 smart people in the entire company and everybody else sucks. Now, including Rey Mysterio. Now all of a sudden Rey Mysterio reverts back to, when they were tag team champions 47 years ago. All right. Now they're champion out. They're thinking all this nostalgia is in place. Now they're friends again. Oh, Edge is finally seeing the light. Edge is a cool guy again, only because Judgment Day turned on him. Okay, cool. So Dominic, who's been by your side every step of the way, your freaking son, you choose Edge over him. Break your son's heart. Okay. By the way, Father of the Year, Ray. Father of the Year. Then you go to the UK. Dominic saved the match. If Dominic doesn't step up and distract the referee, you lose the first time. If Dominic doesn't trip Finn Balor, you lose the second time. And what happens? What happens after you win? They hug. Edge and Rey are celebrating. Dominic has basically won the match for you guys. But Edge, I love you. We might as well made out in the ring. It was disgusting. Okay, it was disgusting. I don't blame Dominic one solitary. If I were Dominic, I wouldn't have stopped. They would have had to pull me off of those 2 ungrateful SOBs. Okay, done with character mode. I loved
it. Man lost his shoe. He didn't care. He threw the shirt off. He should have did the little Eddie shimmy. I hope he takes some notes from Eddie Guerrero, though. I think that would be really a sight to see from him. I loved it, too. I thought it was great. I hated this whole Judgment Day, going with Finn Balor. It still, to me, makes no sense. Edge was undefeated on pay-per-view. Why would you turn on someone who you're getting wins with to go with someone now you're losing again? It doesn't make sense from at least a win-loss standpoint. To me, this was match of the night right here. It was Sheamus versus Gunther. I hate the name, but they brought back Imperium, so they tried to sweeten the deal for me. This was hard-hitting, exactly what it was supposed to be. I think you could build that match back up and run it back at WrestleMania.
That's a fact. I think it was well done. I think Gunther and Sheamus actually got me to like him again.
Yeah. It's been a minute because he kind of was in that flounder area for a while.
That was cool. I don't know if it's just strictly because he was in the UK. Little extra juice because he was kind of in front of some fans that might give him some more love over across the pond. But he definitely showed up and showed out. And I've always said that Walter Gunther is world championship material. I've said that from day one.
Agreed. I know a lot of people are going to complain. I still don't understand. I saw some people talking online today about the whole, WWE. I don't know why AEW's complaining about WWE running that Labor Day show. I swear, I need some of y'all to go back and do some history. If you don't know the games WWE will play with your company, you need to go back. Look up Jim Crockett. Look up WCW. Look up ECW. The games are real, bro. Sometimes they help you. Sometimes they're there to screw you. Sometimes they're just holding their foot on your neck. Like, yeah, you're going to do what we're telling you to do, right? Okay. You can stick around. We'll help you for a little bit.
World Wrestling Entertainment is super petty. Super petty. To hold that on, and oh, here we go. Worlds Collide. That's another example. They took the pettiness of Clash at the Castle to a higher level with Worlds Collide.
Yeah, we'll just do a show before someone else's pay-per-view to tire them out, so that way they'll be complaining about that show. It's psychological, bro. It's a game that they're playing. I hope people realize that and see it. And I want to get into the main event real quick because you're a boxing guy. Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre went out here. A lot of fans, once again, hyped themselves up into thinking Drew was winning. You know, and I know Drew is not the guy, though. What's Drew going to do at WrestleMania? There's no plans in place yet. This thing, Vince, you're still dealing with the Vince McMahon effect right now of what he had set up. Roman Reigns is going to be champion until they have the one guy who can beat him. And guess what? He's not around. So guess who's beating him? Nobody. Nobody can beat him right now.
And I'm glad you said nobody's around right now because I just want to throw a 2-second interlude in there and say that Braun Breaker's certainly not the guy. For anybody that thinks Braun Breaker's the guy, I think the dude is corny. I don't know what I was cheering for Tyler Bate the entire match. I have no idea what people see in this guy.
Oh, I like Braun Breaker. I think he's got some potential in him, but I don't think he's ready for to beat Roman Reigns yet. You would have to do a lot of building and getting him ready for that, and I just don't know if he is. But I don't know. I felt like they also made NXT UK look like chumps at that show. That's another topic for another day, though.
Yes, they did.
Yes, they chumped out the UK product, and I thought that was absolutely terrible for what they did.
They like they were the minor leagues of NXT, which is a slap in the face.
For sure, man. And I think so. I hope some of these guys get to stick around on NXT because it'd be a shame to lose Tyler Bate and several others from being able to perform on our television screens. Here's where I got lost in the sauce of him interfering in the main event. Tyson Fury shows up and shakes Roman Reigns' hands after he beats Drew McIntyre. And then Drew McIntyre gets – bro, I got Luger 93 vibes from this. What? You're singing songs you just lost.
You lost, you idiot. You just lost. In front of your hometown crowd, you lost, you moron. What are you singing for?
Like, I don't know, man. I don't get it. I don't get it, man. I just don't like how he was singing songs in the middle of the ring and doing all that other BS that was going on. It just... I don't know, it ruined Drew for me. And I'm just like, yeah, no more title shots. Like, let's move on from this. And I don't know how he recovers.
And when you sit up here and say, you know what, now this is going to rededicate me to getting the titles. No. You just had your best opportunity. You had home field advantage in your home, I guess, continent, because he wasn't his home state, but home country, but it was his home continent. It was fairly close. All your people were there. No bloodline, and you lost. And then you sang about it like a moron. So I don't know. And Tyson Fury is annoying too. I don't like him as a WWE kind of guy. I hope that never happens.
Yeah, because there were rumors that they were going to fight each other too, and they were taking jabs back and forth, and it never happened. Some people are saying NXT UK got jobbed out. Tyler Bate should have won.
Right.
And there's a Tony Khan quote in there that I'm not going to repeat right now.
Exactly.
But yeah, very, very interesting. And I think this will bring us to the main crux of what this show is about. It's the thumbnail. Triple H, the Cerebral era, as what I've heard some people call it. And that's why I put that on here. Has it been a month? Over a month now, Sean?
The SummerSlam's about 4 weeks, so about a month, yep.
Overall, man, Triple H's run, good, bad, ugly. What do you got to say about this?
I can't go good, bad, or ugly. That's too wide of a scope for me. I'm gonna have to go on a grade system, and I'm gonna say it's been a C+. which is better than the D- that has been in place for a long time. It's a C+. It's passable, on the verge of being good, but it's not great. I mean, but it's been better. You know, when your son who's been getting D's all year brings home a report card with all C pluses, you're excited about it, but it's still a C+.
Okay. Man, that's some harsh fatherism right there. That's a harsh one. I did better. Yeah, not better enough though.
No, I mean, real life. Oh, you've done better, but there's still improvement that needs to be made. Because if you start resting on your laurels about getting a C+, you're going to stay at a C+. And we don't want a C+ existence. We want an A existence.
Somebody said they're giving it a B, but they said the Vince era is getting an F. Yikes. That's tough, man. But Triple H has been very interesting, to say the least. I'll say this, man. Last week on Raw, that tag team match, bro. I've been harping on this. That sucked, that ending. I thought it was absolutely terrible. Terrible what they ended up doing.
It did. You had Io and Dakota, with obviously Bayley in their corner. A team that has been built up since. This is kind of like in my mind, this is like Triple H introduction to the world as the head man in charge. They were your big blockbuster. They were your first big blockbuster that night. And they've been rolling ever since. And then they lose to Aaliyah and Raquel Gonzalez. That's Rodriguez. That's ridiculous. I mean, Aaliyah, who hasn't won on television in how long? I mean, Aaliyah wasn't even involved in any of the decisions that got him to the finals. Raquel was carrying her, and then she gets a pin. They suck. They suck.
And how often on other shows do you hear how incompetent the refs are? So we let the wrong person get pinned in the match, and I don't hear any complaints about the officiating for that.
We sat up here and we had a whole thing with the Street Profits about how the shoulder was up. If you want to take it back, Daniel Bryan got the quick count with the Armstrong brother that won him the title. He had to give the title back. But yet, Aaliyah clearly pinned the wrong person, and we just gloss over it like it never happened.
100%. I'm going to get into a comment here.
And real quick. And what does that do to Dakota and Io? I mean, their stock drops with that loss? Am I right?
Yes, I think that, and Triple H is trying to bring stuff back and do the right thing with with those belts. You could have kept them gone if you were going to do this. In my opinion, I didn't need them back then.
They were. You know what? With the titles vacant, they were around the waist of more charismatic people than Aaliyah and Raquel.
Sean Bates says Drew should have won. Sammy could have cost Roman the match. And then that night, Paul Heyman says it was just for one belt and they don't need an honorary Uso and have Solo take out Sammy. Then Owens could help make the rescue. Now, listen, I'm all for KO and Sammy going up against the Usos. You need to bolster that tag division. I'm going to give you guys some bold predictions right now. DIY will eventually have to reform, put them in the tag division because that's the spot where they're going to be best utilized. I also think Sammy and KO in the tag division temporarily because those are single stars as well. Put them in there and so you can help build that division up and redesign those belts, please.
Ugly.
Terrible. The penny belts got to go, man. Or I'm sorry, they're nickels now. Excuse me.
And the IC is terrible too.
Yeah, they got to put the white strap. I don't know if they go classic with that one. Someone saying Prime Vince was an A-. Matt Lopez says C+. Agree again. It's still too early to discuss. He wants us to revisit this after Mania and possibly after the draft.
That's a good
definitely. Triple H likes to shock people. The wrong team won, even if it was the original plan to have Toxic Attraction. Why not give the titles to Io and Dakota for Plan B? Nighthawk seems to agree. What's going on, Hawk? Aaliyah isn't good. Still better than Eva Marie. ACL Team MAGA. Yeah, I'm not getting into none of that. Vacant is the real world champ. Triple H is going to put him on Sasha and Naomi. We have still yet to see them back. If you've never heard Sean's rant on this, I was only on part 1 of the show. Sean did a part 2 epic rant about Sasha and Naomi and That's still at HubbardWrestlingWeekly.com, right?
HubbardWrestlingWeekly.com and the YouTube channel.
Check him out. Definitely, we need new tag and IC belts. People agree, man. What's the next move for Triple H? Like, if you're Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Paul Levesque, whatever you want to call him, who are you hiring? Who are you bringing back? Like, is Braun Strowman a good person to bring back at this point, Sean, to you?
No, I don't understand the infatuation with this guy. I am not impressed with this guy. Like, I mean, the whole 9 yards. Keith Lee, Braun Strowman, like everybody's going gaga over this. They stink. Braun Strowman was over for about 2 seconds. He lost his window. It was over. Braun Strowman sucks. Braun Strowman is a freakish athlete with no charisma. The best, you know what the best words he spoke were? The best words he spoke were when he spoke no words when he was in the Wyatt family. That's his. Give me one good Braun Strowman promo. Don't worry, I'll wait. Give me one. Give me one.
When he was running around the ring with this.
Give me one good Braun. To all the people listening right now on the EPW channel, okay, and all the fans of Hubbard Wrestling Weekly, Everything Pro Wrestling, Clash of the Podcast. This is our debut episode. I dare you. Thank you, Matt, to give me one good Braun Strowman promo in his entire career. The little kid that he won the tag titles with at WrestleMania a couple years ago, he had a better promo. When he said, "Get these hands," that was the best "get these hands" in the history of the quote, "Get these hands." Braun Strowman stinks. I don't understand what people see in this guy. Do you like him?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm like,
I'll say this: he had great chemistry with Roman. If you wanted me to make a compare, I like him and Roman's matches together. But do I like him overall? No, I would have never had him beat the Bar in a tag match. I would have never had him become the champion, the world champion. By the time they did it, the bloom was off the rose. Like it was, rose was off the bloom. Excuse me. Like I didn't care. I was just like, it's done. It's over. I was just over him and everything he did. Rob said he's big, he's sweaty, and yells about his hands a lot. Casey said, and Braun has a terrible beard. I hate it. No cheeks. It's like one of those awful fake beards. It drives me nuts, and I hate it. Strowman sucks. Nicholas Deanna said, "Hi, Deanna. How are you?"
I guess people would kind of agree with me, bro. Agree with us. Braun Strowman is terrible. Stay where you are. Keep creating your own narrative.
So I'm going to keep throwing. You just caught me off guard when you said that. All right. I had to catch myself before I said something.
That's the name of his company?
Just but if he comes back tonight, he let Triple H control that narrative, right? That money controls the narrative. He said his best spoken words were, "I'm not finished with you," when he flipped Roman off that stretcher.
Yeah, I'm not finished with you.
Tokyo, I'm going to address this real quick, and I'm pretty sure we're going to leave it here. Velveteen Dream, yeah, he's done. Never again to be seen. He's in Tessa Blanchard territory. So, yeah, GG to that guy. Sean, I want to ask you some potential signings. Would you sign them? Would you not right now if you're Triple H? Bronson Reed, do you bring him back? He's in New Japan currently.
Yes.
Okay. Just a fan? Like what he did? He never got a fair shake, man.
Oh, my fault. I thought we were going rapid fire. That's why I just said yes.
I can continue because I have more names.
It's all good. So, real quick, I think he's talented. I think he's a big man that can move. I know that's a little bit, contradictory to what I was saying about Keith Lee and Braun Strowman, but I think he's a big man that can move, that has a little bit of charisma. I think he can be molded. I think he needs to work on his character, but I think he has potential.
Good. What about Malachi Black? We didn't touch on that with the AEW All Out. He did a blowaway kiss, bowed, kind of seemed like he may want to get away from the business, but if you're Triple H, do you try to get your hands back on him? Once again, he was your NXT champ.
No, I don't. I like Malachi Black in the current state that he's in. I think that Malachi Black in his current role was better than, what he was doing in WWE. I don't think there's a need. To me, when you ask the question, bro,
are you counting NXT in that?
Yeah, I'm counting into NXT in that. I think he was good, but I don't think he was great. When you say to me, who do you think they should sign? To me, that means urgency. That means he needs to sign them. Not I think there should be a need, and I don't think there's a need for Malachi Black. I like him. I don't love him.
I'm going to ask you the big one. Bray Wyatt.
Yes.
Now, what version of Bray would you bring back? Because there's been some people say bring back the Fiend. Listen, I'm not gonna front, bro. I'm a fan of Bayou Bray. I like the Swamp Daddy, the if you've ever seen the movie Red State, he reminds me of the preacher from that movie where he's talking in riddles and you're kind of like, yo, what?
I'm going to step out of myself, being the religious person that I am, because it's a little bit sacrilege, with certain stuff. But so I'm going to put my Christian views to the side and say that strictly as a wrestling fan, that he's got the whole world in his hands swag. I think that's wrestling 101. They should bring it back.
Shout out to Pro Wrestling Shoot. Appreciate you. I know you guys are about to record. Appreciate it. I know Triple H wants Adam Cole back, baby. That new version that encompasses them all for Bray. Swamp Daddy, Fedora Bray needs to return. No Fiend. I want Swamp Bray. Okay.
Everybody agrees with you.
Hey, listen, I just think it's the wise move. And is there anyone else besides, Sasha and Naomi, I think is a no-brainer for both of us. As we said, we ranted about it before. Is there anybody else that we didn't mention that you're like, yo, we got to get them back in the company?
I think that the best thing in wrestling is that something small can make you a star. Like, you could be good, but you could be taken to another level. To me, Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish are really good wrestlers. But when you put them with Adam Cole, and when you put that Undisputed Era music on there, and you hear that Shock the System, and you throw on that yellow and black T-shirt, it changes everything. I think Triple H should re-sign any members of Undisputed Era who are not on the roster. Roderick Strong, I hope that the fact that he got jumped in the parking lot will lead to him coming back better. I want the Undisputed Era back together on WWE television.
I got to disagree, man. So here's what I think with Bobby Fish. I know we're dipping back into AEW a little bit, but Bobby Fish, to me, made a big mistake. I don't think he sees his value. Bobby Fish is probably going to want to fight me if he ever hears this. But without Kyle O'Reilly, I don't see the value in Bobby Fish.
Oh, but that's what I just said.
No. I 100% get that. But to me, I don't think Triple H is going to be able to get his hands on them because Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, 5-year deals from Tony Khan.
Okay.
And they probably just extended them with the injuries because when you're out, they extend your deal even longer.
Okay.
So I just don't think you're going to get that. So do you hire Bobby Fish? And Bobby, I don't know, man. I just don't see the appeal unless he's going to be a coach or something. Maybe he's a great coach.
We're on the same page. We're on the same page. There is no, I'm going on the record. There's no urgency for me to hire Bobby Fish back as an individual talent. He has to be a package deal with the Undisputed Era.
Right. Someone said Tegan Knox. Tokyo mentioned Tegan Knox. I don't know. Not on my list of must have. Bobby Fish doesn't see his worth. Bobby Fish is better with Kyle than by himself. Bobby as a coach would be fantastic, people are saying. Listen, we're going to put a bow on this episode. Let's wrap it up nice. And Sean, let's talk about some of the things Triple H needs to do before we get out of here. What are the final things that you think we're going to probably revisit this? We said around Mania time maybe again? Mark this down. We'll try to bring it up. People who watch this every week with us, remind us, Triple H, we're going to talk about this again once we get towards draft time, Mania time. What changes does Triple H still need to put in place that you think to make the product better for WWE now that he's in this major role?
Change the IC and tag team titles, the structure, the way they look. Bring back custom entrance ramps. Trying to think. I
got some I'll throw in. Go ahead. Do your next one.
Go.
within this, I think Triple H needs to hire someone to be talent relations if he's going to be on the creative side. He cannot be creative and talent relations. That's a conflict of interest, and I think that's bad for a corporation to have someone in charge of both. He needs to get that duty off of him, whether he goes – I think Road Dogg's in charge of live events. He needs to get back one of his other guys who got removed, maybe Gabe Sapolsky or someone else could come in for creative. I'd like to see 2 separate creative teams for both brands if you're going to keep this brand split intact and follow your own rules. I have a big issue when like people start cross and switch and like, well, what's the point of all this? Then don't do a brand split.
Right. I would say utilize Paul Heyman more. Make sure that you try and tap into his creative mind a little bit more. I think it was good back when he ran SmackDown years ago. I think that'll be huge. I think you got to look at the talent and understand that, listen, everything, sometimes less is more. You don't need to oversaturate. I think that's WWE's problem. Don't oversaturate. Don't give us too much. Don't give us too little. That's the beauty of being a tremendous creative mind, is not giving us too much, not giving us too little.
Let me see here. Someone said fix NXT 2.0. Yeah, they got some work to do.
Go back to black and gold, no question.
Somebody said duty. I don't know if I must have said duty. Inappropriate to be laughing at that, good sir. I think Triple H is going to strengthen his team. He needs to get back everybody they removed. Start having Kevin Dunn unknowingly train his replacement. Yes, because Kevin Dunn's probably got to get ready to go. Triple H bring back Regal. Good luck with that. Make Paul Heyman head of talent relations, but I don't know if Stephanie would be cool with that. Six says maybe. I think Paul's best in the creative side. Like maybe even Gabe Sapolsky's best on the creative side. Maybe Paul Heyman takes one team and Gabe takes another team.
I think so.
BJ said NXT 3.0. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that he could do. I think just set your rosters up the way you want them. Do you split the world titles?
Yes. Yes. You have to split up the world titles or just create one belt. I'm not. First of all, Roman Reigns is still a SmackDown talent, right?
Technically.
So yeah, everybody's technically where they are. I agree, because they all flip flop when they feel like it. But the point is, you can't have this undisputed title thing is not going to work. You have to have 2 champions on 2 different shows. If it's not going to be 2 different shows with 2 different champions, you need to bring everybody together.
Casey saying bring back Shinsuke.
Bring back Shinsuke to a prominent role, definitely.
I think that's what he meant by that. And yeah. I think Matt Lopez said bring back the big gold belt.
Yeah, I would like that too. That'd be a classic thing to do. Yep.
Yeah. So there's some time. We're going to give him some time. I want to see. So Sean said his grade is a C+. I want to see if he could raise that benchmark for us. This is a great first episode for us, I think. You guys will be getting this every Monday. Right now, the time is 6:05. Stick with us. Always listen up to see what we have. This will go out on both of our audio platforms. Make sure you guys subscribe to Hubbard Wrestling Weekly as well. Sean's got a bunch of combat sports stuff up. He covers a lot of the boxing events that are happening. Show him some love as well. All of his stuff's down in the description, too, that you can get to his website. That'll be in there every week. I've created a playlist just for Clash of the Podcast as well. So if you want to go back and watch old episodes, please feel free to do that as well. I really, really enjoyed this. Tokyo still throwing in suggestions. 1 tag title, 1 women's title, secondary women's title, and no tag titles. Casey,
I like that.
Clapping it up for us. Appreciate that. Sean, if there's anything that you want to do, I'm going to let you take us out. You let me do the intro. I'm going to let you tell everybody to rock out with us here.
We already know what it is, man. It's your man Sean and Conrad here. Hubbard Wrestling Weekly's in the building. Everything Pro Wrestling's in the building. This is Clash of the Podcast. This is where 2 great wrestling minds come together to give y'all our take on what's going on in the world of professional wrestling. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was the debut episode. We're working without a net here, so we hope that we did you guys proud. We hope we were entertaining, and more importantly than entertaining, informative. I'm more about being informative than entertaining, even though I am a charismatic SOB. That is a fact, okay? I understand that. It's a gift and a curse. That is just who I am. But I want to give a big thank you to my brother from another mother, Conrad Cushman, for his generosity with his platform. We've created something together that I think is going to be very successful. This is episode 1, and cheers to episode 2. We'll be right back here, 6:05 Eastern Time next Monday night. Go enjoy Raw. Subscribe to Hubbard Wrestling Weekly. Subscribe to Everything Pro Wrestling, and keep looking out for new content because we are going to be continuing to do what we do. So with that being said, on behalf of my brother and co-host Conrad Cushman and Everything Pro Wrestling, I am Sean Hubbard of Hubbard Wrestling Weekly. We will see you next time. And always remember, evil never prevails. Stay encouraged. Peace.